Hooligans, we back.
Surprise, motherfucker.
With another episode, a surprise episode of the Hooligans League podcast. Now, you're probably wondering what the fuck is going on. You just dropped an episode yesterday, 2 days ago, after not dropping episode for months, and here you are again. What could possibly be going on? That's a fair assessment. And this episode will be quick. And there's really not going to be any business in it. I've just been thinking, with us officially entering our second decade of the league, I've been thinking a lot about the league history. And it's something I've always wanted to do, is go back and look at our league history, given we have 10 years of playing in this league together. And it hit me that now is the time to do that. So I have decided that one of my priorities for this offseason is to discuss and document our first 10 seasons in the Hooligans League. And so that's going to be one of my top priorities beyond outside of, the normal stuff like setting a draft date, figuring out our league theme, and all that good stuff. I really wanted to sneak in league history last year and just didn't get to it. But honestly, I think this works out because now we are reflecting on a full decade together. So I have a couple things in the works in the spirit of a decade of being hooligans together, but I'm going to kick off one today. So that's what this episode is all about. I'm going to hold off on the surprise a little bit longer and just get us started. All right. So take a seat. Find a place to sit back and relax. This will be a short and sweet season 11 special of the Hooligans League podcast. Let's go.
Best in the business when it comes to a quarterback sneak.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
And that's how it goes. I almost did a different intro. Oh, fuck. Went on my special mic again. I almost did a different intro because it's a special episode. But that would have been more work, and I'm trying to get this out Tuesday night. Not a morning episode. This is going to be a night episode, so you can truly enjoy your night, relax, get a little extra content. There's not much on TV. We're dropping this on a weekday night. So yeah, it's time to look back at the last 10 years, a fucking decade of hooligan debauchery. And we are going to start with a new segment that I am creating and kicking it off on this episode. Sometimes this will be a standalone segment that gets its own episode like this one. Other times I will mix it in with other episodes. And this is actually going to be a multi-part series. A multi-part series for us to look back over the past 10 years and see who's done what in this league. And to go even further than that, we are going to find out who has been the best, to put it simple. Who has been a great manager of fantasy football, who has had the most success, who has been the GOAT, the hula goat of the decade. That's what we're talking about. I wasn't sure how to go into this. but I knew I wanted to look at the different histories of each individual. And as I went in and was preparing for Joe V's congratulation video the other day, I realized that we can do something similar for every single manager. So the way that this will work is throughout the offseason, we will be building up to present this GOAT award. Each manager will be evaluated and placed in a tier based on their performance. And each team will then get a special segment where we review their history within the league. Similar to what I did for Joe, just not as in depth. I'm not going through everyone's draft history and, talking about how they've evolved as a manager. We're looking really just at performance. And we're going to look at each team, each manager, until we have crowned the GOAT. And so the way that I've done this, because I've already started to really dive in to a lot of different numbers that I will release to everyone once we've gone through all of the rankings and crowned our Hooligoat. But the way that I am doing this is by looking at playoff performance and comparing that to the rest of the league, regular season records, comparing that to the rest of the league, and point totals and comparing that to the rest of the league. And so, of course, championships mean a lot, but it's not everything. Of course, some people have been fucked over by bad luck. Maybe you went against teams all year long that had their best week of the season against you. Well, that's why we're including point totals, even if you didn't have a good regular season record. I'm also, the way I'm doing all three of these categories is you get, some bonus points if you outperformed everyone, but you also get some points if you weren't at the bottom of the league often. So there's penalties if you are often at the bottom of the league for any of these categories. There's also a slight bias. There's a slight recency bias. We started this league with only 10 teams, so it's become more competitive. We've also upped the ante, and so people who won early on really didn't even win that much money compared to people who come in like second place. Like I'm sure Rick actually won more money this year than people who came in first place at the beginning of our league. So there is a slight recency bias, but really that only comes in like tiebreakers, because ultimately I just have a spreadsheet with a ton of numbers, and what you did is what you did. And only context really only comes into play when I need to break a difference between teams. But I haven't actually ranked any of these teams yet. I've only ranked a couple because I know that their episodes are coming sooner than later. And so today we will only be revealing the number 12 ranking in the Hooligoat list. And so this manager actually has a tier of his own, and it is called the no shot tier. Unfortunately, this manager literally didn't have a chance to be the GOAT. There wasn't a second to even think about where this person would be going once I saw the numbers. And so I hate to do it, but we do need to reveal our number 12 ranking, Mr. No Shot, to Brian Radler. I'm sorry, buddy. I hate to do it, but at least you have a championship. It's just not the right type of championship. And so you got more championships than I do in this league. But yeah, Radler, you are last in our Hula Goat rankings. And we're about to dive into why. What we can say about Radler is he has had some great team names. 9-inch piston pump, Gary the glove Jassoum. Memorable names. I'm very excited to go through the rest of our league's names because I do feel like this is a big part of our history. And as we're figuring out our league theme right now, it's pretty nostalgic, and it's just funny to look back at what our team names were. So the history of Radler here. First, I'll start with the negatives, the things that really pulled him down to the 12th ranking. And so, first up, only 6 years in the league. This isn't like a bad negative. You just didn't have as much data. You didn't have as many opportunities to score points to get you higher up in the ranking. A lot of the people in this league have 9 or 10 years, most. I actually didn't look, but I want to say at least half has been in for 9+ years, if not more. So only being in the league for 6 years means that you didn't have as many opportunities to make the playoffs, to win playoff games, to score a lot of points. It hurt you. It hurt you a lot, actually. There's other teams, other managers that have similar performances to you in a lot of categories, but they just were able to do it more often than you. So no harm there, but it certainly did hurt you. Second, this one hurt a lot. Radler, you, in your 6 years, you had never made the playoffs until last season. It's a lot of losing. A lot of losing. I'm sure you know. And if anyone is like, oh shit, wow, that's bad, don't worry. Your skeletons are coming out of your closet too. Everybody has some skeletons in their closet, and I will find them. Radler's is just a really ugly one. And to make matters worse, you finally made the playoffs and you only came in 4th, but you had a bye week. So that means you lost that one game. So you've never won a playoff game in Hooligan history. Not great, but actually I think there might be one more negative. Oh yeah. Regular season. To make it worse, you've been a bottom 5 team in 5 out of 6 seasons. So you've came in 7th. You just missed the playoffs once, but you've really been a bottom dweller kind of. And I believe you've been a bottom 3 team in 2 of 6 seasons. So 33% of the time you're the bottom third of the league. Not bottom third, the bottom 3 teams in the league. But there is someone in our league who's been in the league longer than you and has a higher percentage of being in the bottom 3. So you are not the worst manager when it comes to bottom 3 performances. We will get to that in a later episode. So just, put a little spin on it. Put a spin on it. There's a manager who performs worse than you more often than you do.
What did he say?
But you're on the rise. You are rise. There are some positives, and we're going to talk about them. First up, you've only been in the league 6 years. Only 6 years. You're on the rise. You're on the come up. You got plenty more opportunities to have good seasons. There have been people who've been in the league longer than you, and they've basically had the same success as you over the past 6 years, but they had some success before you joined. And that really is what puts you at last, because no matter what, someone's had some good seasons. So positive, you got more time to improve. You're on the come up. So I mentioned you didn't perform well in the playoffs. You don't have a playoff win, but you did earn that bye. And so multiple years of coming in 7th or worse, and you came top 2. You got a bye. You had a great season. You're starting to figure out this crazy league, and you're on the rise. And everybody knew it. And you might have come in 7th the year before. So like you've really been on the rise. And last, you've never come in last place. Your name's not on that medal. Your name's not on that medal. There's people who have been on that medal twice. A lot of teams have come in last place. You're not one of them. That is important. You have been in last in total points before, I think 2019, but that was a long time ago. So we're past that. We are past that. And so, Radler, you know, we love having you in the league. You're on the come up. But one thing I think we can all agree on is that you are certainly not the hula goat. And so you will not be the recipient of this award.
Bang! Bang! It's good! Wins the game at the buzzer!
That is not that. No, do not associate that with you, Radler. Not at even close to what was supposed to happen there. Let me try this again. Radler, you are not the GOAT. I'm sorry.
This ain't no GOAT. This is not the GOAT. This is not the GOAT. You want to see the real GOAT? Do you want to see who's the real GOAT? I'll show you a real GOAT.
And you'll find out later who is. Okay, so a little bit of homework. Making this quick because not too much has changed since the last episode. All right, so homework is pretty straightforward because we've been talking about it. I broke it up as top priority and then what's next. So top priority, there are 2 things that we need to do. 1, fill out the draft doodle, the draft date doodle. While this episode is processing and being uploaded to YouTube, I'm going to create a doodle and I'm going to send it to y'all. Fill it out honestly, as quick as you can, because this is the worst part of the offseason, is trying to find a fucking date that 12 people can do. When some people aren't being honest, they're like, oh, I don't really want to do it on this day, so let me act like I can't. But if everyone does that for a couple of days, we can't figure it out. So only put in you can't do a day if you actually cannot do it, because I just want this to be easy. Second, so with the draft date doodle, we also need to figure out the theme of our league. There's been a lot of chatter in the group chat already. I think I just got another text from one of you with ideas. I'm not going to take charge of this unless someone asks for me to take charge of this. Every year we pretty much like naturally kind of figure out what we're going with. And so if we need to put it up for a vote, I'll put it up for a vote. But honestly, I'm going to let you all try to figure out exactly what feels right. And if one floats to the top, then we go with that one. If not, then we can put something up for a vote. I feel like there's already been a bunch of good ideas thrown out there. And so maybe that's making it difficult because there's too many good ones. So those are top 2. Fill out the doodle so we can schedule the draft and let's figure out the theme of our league. Secondary homework. Continue to think of other shit. So if you don't want to do NASCAR, Coke 0400 to figure out our draft order, start thinking of ideas for that. And send them my way, put them in the chat, whatever. Again, that I think is like August 24th, maybe. And then secondly, any other changes, rules, prizes, punishments, whatever else we're going to make to the league, whatever changes we need to make, we're at least going to have to add some prizes because we have a little bit more money. Think through that shit. Don't send it yet. Let's focus on the priorities at hand, but eventually we will talk about other league changes. So that's the homework. Let's get it done. And I'm just glad we're back, y'all. I'm glad we're back. The group chat had been quiet for so long, and then today the energy was phenomenal. Phenomenal. So that's all I got. You'll hear from me again probably in the next couple of weeks, and we'll go from there. All right? Peace.
Bye.
Oh, yeah. Radler, I'm sorry I had to do that to you. Just had to make that very clear.
I went to the petting zoo and
Sorry.
I let the goat lick my penis.